Okay. Hey, welcome everyone to the Founders Features GigaLab Gab session. How was that? You like that? We'd love to show you a little bit about our world inside of our factory here at Houston.
To give you the good, bad, and the ugly, what we're looking at, and what keeps us excited and motivated. So yeah, this is our chance just to connect with you, and as we co-founded Re3D.
So I'll kick it off by saying about a couple of things that we've been up to recently. One of them is we're super excited, and we're going to share a little bit more the next time we do a session. But we delivered one of our largest machines, the Exabot, over to the U.S. Air Force Base in San Antonio, the 149th. And super excited. We've got another machine here in the factory that we'll show you next time we get together. We're sitting in front of our lovely Terabot machine today, so imagine even larger than this. The other platform that we've really been working hard on is the GBX, and so you know this as the pellet fed or the recycled flake material that you can literally pour into the machine and start printing things for yourself. And a lot of awesome improvements have come online in the last few months with that machine. So be sure to go to our forum and check out the updates. Helen shares a lot of technical details. And as an open source company building open source hardware, we really love to show off like the actual physical work that goes into it and the science and the engineering as well. So make sure you check out the forums and read a lot of the good engineering updates that's coming out of printing with pellets and recycled materials.
Yeah, and with that in mind, despite COVID, people have graciously been sending us their garbage from around the world. So the pandemic has helped challenge us to figure out how we're going to offer materials testing for people that are looking to see if their waste or virgin material is compatible with Gigabyte X, or GBX as we call it internally. And then it's also stretched us to think about how we use the Gigabyte X platform as well as Terabot, our filament-based platform, or Exabot, for deployable manufacturing. A lot of supply chains right now are being compromised. You probably hear about that a lot in the news. So one concept we've come up with is a GigaLab that has our printers in it plus our services. So we currently have, Charlotte has the privilege of talking to people who do container retrofits. That's been really fun, and we hope to have an announcement about that later this year. And then we've also been thinking about how our services can be certified to get into more schools as well as production environments.
Yeah, so speaking of that, going through that testing with the nationally recognized testing labs for electrical and worker safety, we have one of our machines already certified, and now we're working on the rest of them. So that's been a really an eye-opening experience for us. We've learned a lot along the way, having never done that before, but having really good feelings about the quality of the product coming out of that testing, and being able to pass that testing has been super excited. But speaking of exciting announcements, the one I am super excited to share as well is being awarded an STTR with NASA. So as you may know, company was kind of born out of NASA as a NASA spinoff about 8 years ago. So having the ability to come back and work with the NASA Space Center, and specifically here in Houston with the Johnson Space Center, where we'll be building a 3D printer to allow the 3D printing of heat shield tiles for spacecraft. So we'll be working with our collaborator and partner.
And current customer.
That's right, over in Tennessee, University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And they'll be helping us with the material development. We'll combine that with the technology and the machine technology here at Re3D, and be able to print heat shield tiles for the spacecraft. So super, super exciting. A lot of interesting work coming out on the research front, which is really where we love to push the boundaries and get our hands dirty, doing things that haven't been done before.
And for those of you that are curious what STTR is, or SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research, these are funding vehicles that are part of America's Seed Fund, provided by the Small Business Administration. And that money is earmarked for small businesses like ours and maybe yours to, in the US, to work on their technology with government dollars in order to help get it to cross the chasm into commercialization. So Gigabyte X was the baby of a National Science Foundation. SBIR, it's still in work right now. And then, and with a match from the Puerto Rican Science and Research Trust. And Exabot was also born out of the SBIR program through an Air Force program. So the STTR is for small businesses to partner with academic institutions as part of that effort. So we're really excited now to continue to grow in the research vein, and as a result of our involvement, we are really honored to get an announcement in January that we were selected for the Tibbetts Award. So Roland Tibbetts is a legend in the small business community, and there's an award named after him, and we are one of 38 companies that were selected for our ability to commercialize products from that program while creating an economic impact. So it's really in line with our social mission, and really humbled to receive that. We hope, now that we've done a couple of them, that we can share what we've learned with you. So if you have questions about the SBIR program, stay tuned. We're going to try and continue to put out some blogs, answer your questions, message us on LinkedIn or otherwise, and make sure that we're allowing others to leverage that resource as well.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting, but it's not all about just what's going on inside of Re3D either. So
sure.
We love to shine a little bit of light on other things that are happening in the world of additive manufacturing and 3D printing, and just really recognize some of the cool trends that are happening out there, and what are the exciting things coming down the pipeline. As you know, we have our nose in it every day, all day. So from the perspective of what's coming next in this exciting technology that just continues to take off and do crazy things. I think from my perspective, the biggest advancements are going to come as we continue to push towards serial production of parts. So being able to print those end-use parts and ship them out the door. And there's all these constraints, as you know, in additive manufacturing that's kind of holding back the technology from really busting forward. I think one of those is on the material side. So recently we attended a conference with University of Maine and Oak Ridge National Laboratories and a bunch of innovators in the space that are pushing large format industrial 3D printing, specifically looking at the biopolymers and the biomaterials. So super exciting stuff coming up in the world of 3D printing, especially on the material side. As we develop these sustainable materials that are made from things like lignin and cellulose and other plant materials, or things that really are easy to recycle and reuse, I think we're going to see additional growth and hopefully bring that cost down as well.
The other big barrier has been standards. As you get into end-use production, the 3D printed components have to meet standards to be put into functional scenarios, especially where there's risks, say like in construction or in boat building, or for a part that would go to an airplane or a car. And part of the way that those standards get influenced is by professional organizations. And it's been awesome that during COVID we found that everything's normalized. So we jump in a table on a remote platform and we're just like GE, and we're able to intersect with people. And as everything went online, especially this summer where I think everyone was like completely saturated with Zoom, we really took advantage of that and got to make some great connections. And then there's some conveners that have been really helpful during COVID, like America Makes, as well as IEEE and SME. So hold us accountable to, beyond COVID, to stay involved with those organizations so that we can help contribute and be inspired by standards and new materials and advancements that are happening as we work together in the ecosystem. Yeah,
for sure. No, it's important to have those organizations kind of pushing forward so that this technology can be more accessible to more people.
Yeah, and then kind of a similar vein, based on our experience in Polymer and connecting with the community, we recently had the opportunity to get subcontracted to support the Navy's conversation around printing with metal.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So last week we were out in Washington, D.C. as part of the Hack the Machine contest.
Our first work trip in a year.
Yeah,
it was so weird.
It is a little strange
weird.
Getting on an airplane again. But we got to see the cherry blossoms bloom, so you know there's always an upside.
And Naval X.
Yeah. So the Hack the Machine, if you may have heard about it, is working with the Navy and trying to integrate technology, particularly additive manufacturing. We had 3 different tracks, and being able to 3D print metal parts. So we put the challenge out there for the community and said, can you print this light fixture bracket using an additive manufacturing process with a metal part? And then we'll be excited to see them coming in. Here in a few days, all the submissions will be coming in shortly.
Yeah, so they're going to get tested in Austin, Texas under the Navy's supervision, and then someone will have the opportunity to win a potentially $1 million contract on April 27th. So stay tuned, we'll definitely be cross-promoting it. We're really excited to see as many people get into 3D printing as possible, and really it's been a lot of fun to support the Navy in that dialogue.
Yeah. So talking about exciting things that are happening in the industry, just to bring it back a little bit more to home, it's not just about the exciting things and the advancements we're making, but it's also about being realistic and open and transparent about the work that we're doing and looking at the failures and struggles that we have as well. Mm-hmm. Just like any other small business, we're building this from zero to factory, as you like to say, which is a really good way of saying it. We struggle as well as anyone else. And I think in this past year, what we've seen specifically on the supply chain side. So as a manufacturer, we source hundreds of different components from many different vendors. And these impacts that we're seeing, whether it's a boat sideways in the Suez Canal or just the realism that
borders and lockdown.
Yeah, these supply chains are rather long and thin. So the same reasons that we advocate for this technology to help solve some of those issues, we're feeling the pinch ourselves. So really about taking some steps forward, trying to have multiple vendors. I know that in some cases it's caused us to increase our lead time for some of our products and really hate to do that to our customers. But the struggles are real. We're actively trying to find ways to mitigate those problems by getting multiple vendors, by sourcing more things closer to home. In fact, taking steps forward to obtain our made in America, made in the USA. So super excited about that. I think it's something that we really believe strongly in. So hopefully we'll have some good news for you shortly about obtaining that.
Yeah, so it's we are open for business. We apologize for the lead times due to the supply chains. If you hadn't heard, I guess both Israel and Texas at the same time had unprecedented snowstorms. We call it snowvid. So we've had some shutdowns with that. The team does work. We're still battling with sometimes the team's working virtually due to COVID constraints. Sometimes more of us can be together, but we are bummed that this summer we won't be doing summer camps or physical tours, but we are doing virtual tours, and Charlotte would love your feedback and programming and resources we can offer you, your community, and beyond as we think about how we stay connected during these unprecedented times. So thank you so much for your time today. Tell us what you want us to talk about next time, and we'll try and keep this going.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.